So, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna that the Vedas mainly deal with the three modes of material nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And then he advised Arjuna to transcend the Vedas. So that transcendental knowledge beyond the Vedas are the Upanishads. There are 108 Upanishads, and our spiritual master A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, he translated the Ishopanishad or Ishopanishad. Last night at the program, I spoke on text number 11. But for today's program, I chose text number 10 because the purport is going to show something about our mutual friend, Jai Krishnadas Jashbhai Patel. So please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So my version that I have here doesn't have the Sanskrit, so please repeat after me. The wise have explained. One result is derived from the culture of knowledge, and that a different result is obtained from the culture of nescience. So before we listen to Prabhupada's purport, I will explain a little bit. So previous to this verse, because there were an introduction and 9 other verses, it was explained what is nescience according to the Upanishads. Generally, nescience means ignorance. So according to the Ishopanishad, nescience or ignorance is the same as material knowledge. Just see the platform of which the Upanishads are dealing with. After all, Krishna told Arjuna, the Vedas deal mostly with the three modes of nature, so the Upanishads are dealing with transcendence. So that is the given understanding. Materialistic civilization, materialistic knowledge is actually ignorance. Avidya, we heard this word last night, avidya. Vidya means knowledge. Avidya, the opposite of knowledge. And so it's here, it's saying that you get a different result if you pursue materialistic life, materialistic knowledge. Then you are proceeding on the path of darkness or ignorance. So when it says culture of knowledge, the inference, the implication is transcendence, spiritual knowledge. That's the context according to the Upanishads. Materialistic knowledge, ignorance. Real knowledge, knowledge of Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagavan. The soul, the super soul, and the personality of Godhead. So now we will hear Srila Prabhupada's purport. And I also mentioned last night, when Prabhupada is explaining things, invariably he's going to refer to Bhagavad Gita. The bulk of his explanations are excerpts from Bhagavad Gita. So his first first part of this purport is knowledge. So, Prabhupada writes, first of all, please, we did Om Namo, we did, right? We did Om Namo Bhagavat, okay. All right. So, as advised in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita, verses 8 through 12, one should culture knowledge in the following way. So you'll see in the Gita those verses. This is what is knowledge. So here he paraphrases or explains it differently. And you'll see how I saw this, much of this I can see in Jai Krishna Das Jajbhai Patel. You'll see for yourself. Number one should become a perfect gentleman and learn to give proper respect to others. Would you agree? The Sanskrit word, everybody please repeat, amanitvam. Number two, one should not pose him or herself as a religionist simply for name and fame. Was that did Jajbhai do his service for name and fame? I don't think so. Even when he was temple president, you didn't see him for name and fame, am I right? Was he not always humble and meek and service attitude? The Sanskrit word, please repeat, adambhitvam. Number three, one should not become a source of anxiety to others by the actions of body or by thoughts or by words. What do you think? Was he a cause of anxiety? I guess he had some enemies. So for his enemy, but he was like Yudhishthira. He had no enemies, but some people considered him. Right? I don't have to go into the details. Am I right, Krishna Kumar? A very expensive episode, wasn't it? Very expensive. He never had any enemies, but some people considered him. And of course, we're not mentioning any names. So the word here, ahimsa. Number four, one should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation from others. Definitely he went through that during the temple fight. One should learn forbearance even in the face of provocation. The Sanskrit word kshanti. Number five, one should learn to avoid duplicity in one's dealings with others. Was Jai Krishna Das duplicitous? Was he a politician? I never saw him like that. The Sanskrit word, please repeat, arjavam. Number six, one should search out a bona fide spiritual master who can lead one gradually to the stage of spiritual realization. And one must submit him or herself to such a spiritual master, render him service, and ask relevant questions. What do you think? Does he pass the test? He definitely accepted Srila Prabhupada, and he definitely accepted his own personal spiritual master, His Holiness Gopal Krishna. Right? And he did submit himself. He definitely rendered service, and he would ask questions at Namahat program, at Kundan Loka. He would ask questions, right? Krishna Kumar. Sanskrit word, please repeat, Acharya Upasanam. Number seven, in order to approach the platform of self-realization, one must follow the regulative principles enjoined in the revealed scriptures. What do you think? Did he follow? Or was it all talk and no action? I would say he followed. He was pretty strict, wasn't he? The Sanskrit word, please repeat, shauchang. Number 8, one must be fixed in the tenets of the revealed scriptures. Please repeat, staryam. Number 9, one should completely refrain from practices which are detrimental to the interest of self-realization. That's why he was a firm believer in the 4 regulative principles. No illicit sex, no intoxication, no meat eating, no gambling. That's required. If you want initiation, you have to take vows that, yes, I will give up these 4 pillars of sinful life. Otherwise, one cannot be a serious practitioner. Please repeat. So the Sanskrit phrase, Atma Vinigraha. Number 10, one should not accept more than one requires for the maintenance of the body. So maybe the family members can attest to that. One should not accept more than what one requires for maintenance of the body. Did he live extravagantly? What do you say, Jatin? He didn't live extravagantly, did he? Krishna Kumar? Huh? Simple. So here's the Sanskrit, please repeat. Indriyarteshu vairagyam. Number 11, one should not falsely identify with the gross material body, nor should one consider those who are related to one's body as their own. The Sanskrit is anahankar. Number 12, one should always remember that as long as he or she, so let's go back to that previous one, because that needs to be explained. So, falsely identifying with the body and considering one's relations, that's Dhritarashtra. All throughout Bhagavad Gita, the Pandavas, every decision Dhritarashtra made was due to attachment to Duryodhana and his sons, even at the expense of morality. Even though Dhritarashtra was warned repeatedly by Bhishma, by Vidura, and by others, your attachment to your sons is causing you to commit very grievous offenses. And this undue attachment is ultimately going to lead to the destruction of all these children, which is exactly what happened. Even Krishna warned him. His brother Vidura warned him. But because of that strong attachment, he wound up losing. He didn't keep one son, did he? All of them were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. All because of that unlawful attachment. You have to be attached to your children, that's given. But here the reference is unlawful, to the extent that you commit offenses or sins just because it's your children. Therefore, it doesn't matter. I'll do whatever. Okay, number 12. One should always remember that as long as one has a material body, one must face the miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. That's what we've signed up for. We have a material body. Welcome. This is what you get. Just like when you buy something or you hook into a program, it shows you. You join a club, or here's what you're going to get for joining this club, the benefits. Well, you come to the material world, you get a material body, this is what you get. Birth, death, old age, and disease. A lot of fun, isn't it? There is no use in making plans to get rid of these miseries. The best course is to find out the means by which one may regain his or her spiritual identity. So that's the idea. Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, they had great schemes how to live immortal, but it didn't work. Hiranyakashipu thought he had an ironclad contract. I can't die like this, I can't die like this. But what happened? Nrsingadev killed him. Ravana got all these benedictions from Lord Brahma, except for two, humans and monkeys. Who killed Ravana? Ramachandra in the form of a human being, and the demigods in the form of monkeys. So they thought they had it all planned out, that I will live here forever. No. The best thing is to go back home, back to Godhead. Not simply try to make this life perfect. So what's the Sanskrit? Please repeat. Janma mrityu jara vyadhi dukkha doshanu darshanam. So these are the words in the Bhagavad Gita, and Prabhupada is paraphrasing it. Number 13. One should not be attached to more than the necessities of life required for spiritual advancement. Please repeat. Indriyarteshu vairagyam. Number 14. One should not be more attached to wife, children, and home than what the revealed scriptures ordain. So it's okay. This is very similar to what I said before. You can have a home, you can have a family, you can have attachment for these things, but not more than what is prescribed in the scriptures. That's why we have to study Bhagavad Gita, so that we know this much is like when you do your taxes. You're allowed to deduct this. You're allowed to deduct this. But some people think, oh, I'll deduct this. It's risky, because if the audit comes, Mr. Trump, then we're going to see, you should not have done that. You should not have done that. We see athletes, movie stars, they try to hide money. Then the IRS says, no, you owe 10 million. There's this one famous, the world famous soccer player from Spain. He's right now in a lot of trouble because he owes millions. He's tried to avoid taxes. And now the Spain government is saying, no, you have to pay. So the law of karma is like that. When Yamaraj does the audit, everyone gets audited by Yamaraj at the time of death. And he has the, oh, you see this? You see this? You see this? But you're safe. Because when your audit comes, you just have to say, Yamaraj, see, I have my neck beads, Hare Krishna. Oh, okay. You can go. Remember that. That's why we wear these Tulsi Mala, Kanti Mala. When the Yamadutas see this, oh, he's devotee. He gets express lane. You know, the airport, you know, the pre-TSA. This is your pre-TSA. Oh. Now in LA, they're building, I think they've already built it. For the movie stars and the politicians, they have their own lane, their own terminal, so they don't have to be with the riffraff. It's a new thing now. I was reading about it, that they get priority treatment. They have to pay some amount of money, and they go through everything, you know, 1, 2, 3. So that's the benefit of being a devotee. So what's the Sanskrit? Please repeat. Asaktir anabhishvanga putradara grihadishu. Number 15. One should not be happy or distressed over desirables and undesirables, knowing that such feelings are just created by the mind. Of course, this is referring to material things. Please repeat. Nityang cha sama chit vamatishta itishpopatishu. That's a lot. If you don't get it, that's all right. Number 16. One should become an unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. What do you say, Jatin? Was your father-in-law an unalloyed devotee of Sri Krishna? His very name, Jai Krishna Das. And serve him with rapt attention. Please repeat. Mai Chanyanya Yogena Bhaktir Avyabhicharani. Number 17. One should develop a liking for residence in a secluded place with a calm and quiet atmosphere favorable for spiritual culture. And one should avoid congested places where non-devotees congregate. Did Jashbai like to go to Las Vegas? Did he like to do that? Jatin? Huh? Was he seen in the casinos? So, where would you find him? In the temple. And I was just remarking when I got here today, I noticed that everything in this house, spot clean. The bathrooms, the kitchen, this house, spick and span, spotless. So I was like very impressed how this house has maintained its Brahminical status. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Please repeat. Vivikta Desha Sevitvam Aratir Janasangsadi. We have one more. One should become a scientist or philosopher and conduct research into spiritual knowledge. So he was always studying Srimad Bhagavatam, because from time to time he would ask me questions, and sometimes I would say, "Why are you asking me? This is way over my head." So he was very particular studying Prabhupada's books. Very particular. Recognizing that spiritual knowledge is permanent, whereas material knowledge ends with the death of the body. Please repeat. Adhyatma Jnana Niyatvang Tattva Jnanartha Darshanam. So now that's the 18 items. So that's the 18 items of knowledge presented by Krishna in chapter 13 of Bhagavad Gita. These 18 items combine to form a gradual process by which real knowledge can be developed. Except for all these 18, all other methods are considered to be in the category of nescience. And that's exactly what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. After these 18 items, Krishna says, and besides these, whatever there is ignorance, nescience, avidya. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, a great acharya, maintained that all forms of material knowledge are merely external features of the illusory energy, and that by culturing them, one becomes no better than an ass. By advancement of material knowledge, modern man is simply being converted into an ass. Some materialistic politicians, in spiritual guise, decry the present system of civilization as satanic. But unfortunately, they do not care about the culture of real knowledge as it is described in Bhagavad Gita. Thus, they cannot change the satanic situation. In modern society, even a young boy thinks himself self-sufficient and pays no respect to elderly men. Do you see this happening in the world today? The youth have become very arrogant. I don't know what's happening in your families, but in many houses in America, that's what's happening. The young teenagers are becoming very arrogant and disrespectful to the parents and the grandparents. Prabhupada wrote this purport in the 1950s before coming to America. So he was seeing it even in India back then. He was seeing the signs. Due to the wrong type of education being imparted in our universities, boys all over the world are giving their elders headaches. Thus, Sri Ishopanishad very strongly warns that the culture of nescience is different from that of knowledge. The universities are, so to speak, centers of nescience only. Consequently, scientists are busy discovering lethal weapons to wipe out the existence of other countries. You all know probably what's going on. North Korea, right? At any moment. And who's closest? West Coast. We better pray. Right? Because the guy who runs North Korea, he's crazy. They worship him as God. Many years ago, I saw a program on how the Korean people view this. Well, it was actually his father. And they worship him as God. For them, he's God. And the son is, the father was bad enough, but the son is even more demoniac. And I read recently, he's very terrified that the CIA is going to kill him by doing, you know how we got bin Laden, right? We sent in the Navy. So that's what he's worried about. I read about this. That guy, whatever his name is, he's worried that U.S. is going to send Navy SEALs to wipe him out. So that's why he's doing what he's doing, all these threats and testing missiles, because that's what he's afraid of. Universities are so busy discovering lethal weapons to wipe out the existence of other countries. The problem is, once the nuclear war starts, it's bad for everybody. Because then, of course, retaliation, and then other countries, Russia might, okay, and who knows where it will end. When there's a fight, when there's a war, right? And the main thing, even after the bombs, is the fallout, the nuclear, fallout, which lasts generations. So I pray every day to Krishna, please, please protect us. Because if there's a nuclear war, how am I going to do Namahat? We won't be able to come together for bhajan. So I pray every day, Krishna, please, keep Trump, keep this other guy, calm them down. Calm it down. Shanti, Shanti. Every day my wife wakes up, she goes, let's turn on the TV, let's see if Trump blew up the world yet. Because every day there's like something new. What did he do now? What did he tweet? I can see it now. His tweet. I just sent off a nuclear bomb. So I've been praying. Since he got elected, I've been praying every day to Krishna, please. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. University students today are given instructions, are not given instructions. They're not given instructions in the regulative principles of brahmachari, celibate student life, nor do they have any faith in any scriptural injunctions. This I know for certain. There was, many years ago, maybe about 10, 15 years ago, there was one lady family from Radharaman Temple. And this lady was very nice. The young boy was very nice. She even got him, I remember, she got him his own set of Srimad Bhagavatam. So he was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. How old are you? All right, even younger than him, her son was reading Srimad Bhagavatam. So I didn't see him, So I didn't see him for many years. Then at Pranjivan Bai's funeral, right? At Pranjivan Bai's funeral, this boy now was a college student. And he came up to me. He said, Nirantara, I got to talk to you. I said, what's the matter? He goes, now that I've gone to college, he was going to UCLA, I've lost all my religion. That UCLA education has made me an atheist. He was reading Bhagavatam as a young boy, but that as Prabhupada has been saying, that education of nescience. In fact, he told me that there was one professor, Indian professor teaching, I guess, Indology or something, and the professor say, the Rig Veda says you should eat meat. I was like, what? So he was almost crying because he knew he was fallen, but once you get brainwashed like that, you lose faith. So I told him, take my email address, take my phone number, call me, I'll try to help you. But he never did. That contamination of that nescience, as Prabhupada, was so strong. And I've seen it also in subtle ways. Even some devotees I know who have been devotees for many, many years, then they went to university and they also started to get some doubts. They were having some doubts. I'm lucky. I'm too stupid to go to university. I just stick to Prabhupada's books. I'm happy. I don't have any doubts. I'm glad I'm not a brain, super brain. So, what's been your experience? Give him the mic. Have you come across influences that have made you doubt your Krishna consciousness, or have you been saved? What's that?
As long as you stay in constant association and you hear about Krishna, sing about Krishna, follow the nine process devotional service, whichever one works for you, there's no way that the material influence can get to you.
But is it true that you could see how if you were not,
yes, definitely, you
would become affected? Because it's like, and I know from the years I worked in the material world, say what years, 86 to 95, being, working a regular job, I saw even in myself that it's a good thing I was fixed, because there were all kinds of situations and temptations and scenarios. Like I remember very vividly, I was working in this office on Wilshire Boulevard, and I got along with everybody in the office, but there was one demon in the office. And he knew I was a devotee. After a while, everybody in the office knew I was a devotee. Everybody was very nice except for one guy. He was the vice president of the company. He was one. They had several, but he was one of the, he was like Mr. Two in charge. And he was a demon. And he would always make my life miserable. So one day I had to go to his office for something, and just to taunt me, he put a picture of a naked woman on his desk, just to taunt me. Because that's what a demon does. They don't like devotees, they taunt them. So that's what happens. Everybody chant the Maha Mantra. All right, this purport goes on, but we're over time. So we're going to have Arti right now.